This is Josh Heller,
This is Logan Ripley,
and you're listening to Sports Now on Radio St. Rose.
Internet radio service of the College of St. Rose in Albany, New York.
You're back here with Sports Now. I'm Josh Heller, as always joined by my co-host, Logan Ripley. Logan, how's it going today?
Well, we're in March. Our new show in March. We're thinking about basketball. We're thinking about NCAA basketball, and we're fired up about it.
Yes.
There's a lot of games, a lot of conference games still.
Yes.
We played out the conference. We have the bracket here for you. We're not going to read them all off. Maybe pick a few that are interesting.
Yep.
I believe Wichita State plays tonight.
It's either tonight or tomorrow. Yeah.
Tonight or tomorrow.
And we're recording this on Tuesday.
Tuesday. So it's going to be a very good bracket season. There was no perfect number one out there this year.
Right, I agree.
Just like we saw last year.
I agree.
Some of your thoughts on that?
Okay, so I'm going to run down the one seeds. Kansas, the overall number one. They're in the South region. In the West, Oregon, surprisingly, gets the number one seed. In the East, North Carolina, they were expected to get number one. And in the Midwest, Virginia. So Kansas, overall number one, that's fine. They're a really good team. Oregon, I could see them with a 2. I don't think they should have gotten a 1 seed. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, Oregon, I'm not very high on them. I'm not very high on a lot of the teams in this bracket this year. Even the number ones, such as UNC, Kansas.
Yeah.
And
this is one of the first years where I don't feel really confident in any bracket that I do.
I feel the 2s are almost better than the 1s.
Yeah, I think
cases.
Michigan State definitely should have been a 1 seed.
I think they should have. And then you have to look at even West Virginia at a 3 seed. They're the best defense in the country.
I would put Villanova over West Virginia. No, I would put Oklahoma over Villanova over West Virginia.
Yeah.
That's the way I rank those guys.
Yeah, it's definitely something to watch. We saw a lot of upsets last year when we even had solidified number ones, like teams that we knew were going to be number one at the start of the year practically.
Mm-hmm.
And now we've got another big year for freshmen, but then the seniors take over. The teams with the seniors are the best teams, like Kansas with Perry Ellis,
Yep.
and Oklahoma, Buddy Hield,
Yep.
and Denzel Valentine for Michigan State.
Yep.
So you're seeing the older upperclassmen do well. Providence has a really good guy with Chris Dunn at the point guard position.
Mm-hmm.
So Melo Trimble, Maryland, sophomore. So you're seeing
and the list goes on.
You're
and on,
seeing
right.
a change in basketball. We thought that LSU and Ben Simmons was going to be amazing, and the only guy that I see really on this list, maybe two guys I'm seeing where the freshmen have carried the team, has been Cal with Jaylen Brown, and Jamal Murray for Kentucky.
Yes, that one.
So
I
those are the only ones. Like I haven't seen anyone else besides those teams.
Yeah, no, I agree. And what I'm really looking forward to this year is just, like, there's not that many strong names at the top, but it's the depth that goes. Like, you look at Duke is a 4 seed. Now I think this is the weakest Duke team that they've had in quite some time.
Yeah, definitely.
But still a strong 4 seed. And then you've got guys that are high seeds, like, you like West Virginia. I don't like West Virginia.
I like West Virginia.
I don't want to get into our predictions, mainly because I haven't filled out my bracket yet.
Right.
So we're going to save that until after the first 4 games, which is today is the 15th. So yes, the first games are tonight.
Yep. So those are something to watch.
Yep.
And we'll tell you the scores of those when we next show.
Now, how many 16 seeds are going to win?
All of them.
Okay. Right. Glad we agree on that.
Another team that you might want to, I mean, it's not a prediction. I'd say it's more of like something to watch as it comes down is Iowa. I think Iowa could be game changer. Fran McCaffrey.
Mm-hmm. They would have a tough second round matchup.
They would have a tough second round matchup.
Villanova's underrated. I think. They're good.
I don't like Villanova.
You don't like?
I've never liked
I like Villanova way more than Xavier.
Syracuse is at. This is the biased part. Syracuse should have beaten Villanova many times in the past 3 seasons, and the only reason they lose is because Villanova gets hot in the second half against the 2-3, and they just pour in threes. And that's what they've lived and died by, I thought, and a little bit of defense. You could say they resemble the Warriors, playing really like nose for the ball defense and then just banging threes. They have Archie Dinacchio, who's like really good, who's been there, it seems like, for about 7 years.
Same with Perry Ellis.
Yeah, Perry Ellis is balding, if that's not news to you.
Do you think Syracuse should have made the tournament?
All right.
I'm a Syracuse fan, and I don't think they should have.
Do you want to hear, like, the bias part, or do you want to hear, like, my professional opinion?
Let's hear your professional opinion first.
I guess you'd have to take in. I think the NCAA took into account the 9 games that Boeheim was gone and their record in those 9 games. But with Boeheim here, we lost 5 out of the last 6 games coming into the tournament. I didn't think that was ever going to happen. I thought we were going to maybe maybe 4 wins in the last 6 games, something like that. And we just didn't. We lost some games. We had, I think, a 14-point lead on Pitt. Late in the second half, lost to them for the 3rd time this year.
Yep.
We should have beat UNC once this year.
That was a good game, though.
It was a good game. We played well. Yep. I think Cooney, for being one of our better players, is really inconsistent. Ibanez is one of the most overlooked players in the ACC.
Yep.
We have Tyler Lydon, who's amazing as a freshman, along with Richardson, who I think is really good. And DeJuan Coleman, who's been there for 7 years also.
Yep.
So I think that it's a good team. I think that NCAA took into account the 9 games that Boeheim missed with Weiss. I think Weiss is his name.
I think
Mark
so,
Weiss.
Yep.
Coaching instead because of everything that's happened. And they look at a team that's older, proven, and a fan base that wants them there. And with them having a decent team last year and not being able to go, I think they're thinking, all right.
I still would have put Monmouth in over them, I think.
I don't think it came down to Monmouth.
I don't know.
I think it came
did.
down to some other teams
right.
that people were very surprised about.
Yeah.
VCU didn't win their conference either.
No, but still a good team.
And they're
10 losses
I watched
in a weak conference.
10
losses.
I watched one of their games, and VCU is notorious for defense. Shaka Smart's not the coach anymore.
Right.
He's the coach of Texas now, but they're still great. It's still like the Butler deal with Brad Stevens. Like, he's not the coach anymore, but they still kind of hold the same mold. But their offense is, I don't think it's that good. When I was watching, the one player would just come down, shoot the ball, miss it. They go back down, they get a steal, give it back to the same guy, shoot the ball, miss it. It was kind of like watching Monmouth and their lefty, who's like really good. Monmouth played such a good game in that final game. I was very surprised they didn't get in because it wasn't like they got blown out by 20.
Against Iona?
Yeah, it wasn't like they got blown out by 20. It went right down to the end.
Yep.
So
yeah,
Iona's really good.
Yeah, Iona is very good. Yeah,
one of the best offenses in the country.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm not saying it came down to Syracuse and Monmouth, but I felt like that Syracuse didn't really deserve to make it. Now I understand taking into account Boeheim's absence and all of that, but I feel that Monmouth did deserve to make it. I mean, I don't know. I feel like like you said, they put on such a good showing even for a losing effort that I felt that might have solidified their chances. But
another thing to add for Cuse, the games that we lost, the games that Syracuse lost, they weren't. I think the NCAA. It's always been thought that NCAA looks into quality losses.
Yes,
and I think Syracuse has more quality losses than any other team because they are in the ACC, and that does bolster their schedule.
Yeah.
And they have a lot of quality losses. They're in all the games that they play in. Maybe for the majority, they're in it for the majority of the game. Then at the end, fouling, all the stuff, they're down more than down 7 points. And I think NCAA looks into that, and they have people for that. There's a lot of other teams that deserve to be in, but it happens. They'll be in the NIT.
Yeah,
that's still a good tournament. Yep. Not bad.
Now we'll save any upset alerts or any other predictions for next show. Just because I still need to fill out
of them.
Still need to fill out that bracket.
I've already filled out 10 and I'm ready.
Oh, jeez.
Just kidding, not that many.
Okay, yeah. We'll move on to the NFL. Big story came out of the NFL as the league officially recognized that football leads to brain disease.
The first time
that they've
acknowledged
ever made
the link between, yes.
Right, yep. Now my question is a sport like the NHL going to follow, who has said in the past that they don't, they haven't come out and said that they see a link. I am curious if they make a complete 180 and how long it's going to take for Bettman and company to make that connection. But that's just the hockey angle from it. I wanted to get your perspective on this news that came out about it.
Just like some stats on it. This happened at the U.S. House of Representatives Committee on Energy and Commerce, and some spokesman for the NFL. It wasn't Roger Goodell himself that said it, but I read something about Roger Goodell that he might be in a little trouble here. They might be trying to
distance don't remember
themselves
exactly.
from him in something, or I don't know what it was.
Yep.
That's just another story. But Dr. Ann McKee at Boston University, neuropathologist who has diagnosed CTE in brains of 176 people, including those of 94 former NFL players. The disease can only be diagnosed after death, and most of the time, this is my speculation, my opinion, most of the time when they die, it's because of the CTE.
Right.
But what we've seen, not always, but it leads to depression. It leads to like suicidal thoughts.
Junior Seau, notably, yeah.
The guy that played for the Chiefs that in the parking lot, didn't he?
Oh yes, I can't remember his name though.
Yeah, he was.
That's sad.
Yeah, like that. It's a big deal, and it's good that these people for the NFL have recognized that this is happening. They know they've known it's been happening. Like, we know this. We know that much. They've known it's been happening. And they've been paying settlements for a long time.
Yeah, yep.
Maybe now they'll start something to save that. Maybe they're thinking there's a cheaper way to go about it by starting, like, some type of thing to where when you're signing a clause, we're not liable for this and this. We will pay for health insurance, but we're not liable to be sued every time this happens. And I'd like to draw a line here, and parallel to it is players are starting to recognize it. Mm-hmm. They've made their money. Why do they want to put their future on the line? Why do I want to make all this money if I can't spend it, use it for my family, and be there with my family while we use this great gift that we received from the NFL and playing in it?
Yeah.
We just saw B.J. Raji, age of 29, who was one of the best defensive tackles that we've seen the past 6 years, drafted in 2009. He just retired. Yep. You know, he was one of
And then, of course, Calvin Johnson, Marshawn Lynch, so on and so forth. Yeah.
Yeah. So they're realizing
there's no point to put your body through that much stress.
And, like, hinder your future.
Exactly.
The reason you play this game is for your future for your family.
Yeah, you want to spend time with your family after you play. You don't want to be just handicapped, you know?
And this link and the NFL Players Association has been really pulling for this, and the NFL has been shying away from it, and Roger Goodell, and finally they've admitted to it. They've admitted the link. They've known it, and it could only help the NFL. And Roger Goodell, I think, wanted this to be a young players' league since the beginning. He wanted it to be a young players' league, and I think within the next 5 years, you're going to see the age of players decrease probably maybe 3 years. Mm-hmm. You're going to see the average go from about,
what is it, like 30?
Probably 34,
33.
33 maybe.
33, yeah.
If players are starting to retire in their late 20s and early 30s, it's going to be down to about 29. Yeah. And we're going to be seeing kids right out of college, 2-3 years. We're just going to see them playing. Yeah. And we're not going to see those. There might not be another, after Brady's gone, after all these people are gone, you're going to see these people have more short-term success rather than long-term success like Peyton has done. And I don't think you're really going to see any more legends. Yeah. Because you're not going to see Brett Favre, the Iron Man, and other sports like Cal Ripken play.
You'll still see the 40-year-old punters out there.
Yeah, that's about it. They're not getting hit in the head every 5 minutes.
That'll be the legends. But yeah, I think you make a good point there. Definitely.
Yeah, I think the NFL's changing, and it's going to be more exciting.
It's for the better.
And it's for the better. And they just need to work on the helmet system, I think, and just try to really find someone that can stop this crazy CTE problem, and it needs to be done soon. Yep.
So with that, free agency period has started, and the team that made the biggest noise has to be the New York Giants. Their defense last year, very poor, and now with departures like Prince Amukamara leaving, they had to bring in a lot of guys. So I'll read down the list here. They brought in cornerback Janoris Jenkins, played for the LA Rams, well, St. Louis Rams last year.
Right.
Jenkins signed a 5-year, $62.5 million deal. Next up, they signed the top available defensive end and defensive tackle in Olivier Vernon and Damon Harrison. Vernon's deal was monstrous, 5 years, $85 million. He's going to be great on that D-line, as well as Damon Harrison was on the Jets last year, 5-year, $46.25 million. And they also re-signed Jason Pierre-Paul for 1 year, $10 million. And some good news regarding Pierre-Paul.
He finally has feeling in his hand.
It took
Can
long
you
enough.
believe it? He will not be wearing the club next season.
Yep.
He will just probably be going glove and, probably tape up his hand. But he's gonna have more feel. He'll be able to. I'm thinking switching, but between both left hand down, right hand down, which kind of hindered him last season when he came back. He is still putting pressure on the quarterback. He maybe had 2 sacks, I believe, 1 sack.
Yeah, he didn't have many.
Yeah, he didn't have a lot, but he was still there. Great presence. And now with Olivia Vernon and Harrison, it's a pretty good line right now.
Yep.
I just want to note something quick. The Olivia Vernon deal.
Mm-hmm.
He was looking at the Jaguars at one point. I think
that was a fake report.
Exactly. That's what I wanted to bring up with Adam Schefter, because that was a big, kind of funny, but not so funny deal for Adam Schefter. Like, ESPN's reporting that he's finalized a deal with the Jaguars,
right.
And then Schefter comes out and he's yelling at the camera like, these are fake accounts. It's not real. He has talked with the Jaguars, but he has not decided if he's signing there yet. And now you're seeing with the Giants, so people need to respect Adam Schefter and wait till he breaks the news, because Chris Mortensen's not there anymore.
He still broke one piece of news last week. I can't remember which it was.
He's slowing down, though. You might see some new people out there.
But yeah.
I just thought that was something good to note. Giants overall, offense is pretty good.
Yeah.
I'm glad that all right, Tom Coughlin's a great coach, and he has been for a long time. But I'm glad they didn't try to go somewhere else and hire someone, because Eli's in his final 5 for how many years you want to put on him.
Yeah.
You don't want to go through another playbook change with him as you did 2 years ago when he threw like 30 interceptions. And that's why he did throw that many interceptions. He wasn't confident with it. Now this year you're seeing he's confident with it. Odell and him are connecting. You got some other pieces. Maybe they'll draft another wideout. A young guy. There's a surplus of them that are really good, and a 5th rounder could be even really good on your team next to Odell. So I think their defense just need to be shored up, and they've done that.
Well, I think they've shored it up, but not quite yet.
They still need to go.
They need to target defense in the draft. They need to target defense.
I mean, the whole thing about the NFL and teams is see how much we can get in free agency for the price that we want, and then pick up the rest of the pieces in the draft. I'd rather see. Well, I'll talk a little bit about it later, but I'll leave the breaking news to now, and we'll revisit that.
All right. Speaking of Schefter, just before we started recording, reported that the Cardinals traded guard Jonathan Cooper and a 2nd-round draft pick to New England for star defensive end Chandler Jones. What's your initial reactions to that, Logan?
Chandler Jones, that's kind of interesting. From my Patriots insider, meaning my roommate, he said that he had been reading reports that Chandler Jones may be traded, and told me this after I sent him the message that he was traded on the walk over here about 20 minutes ago, maybe less.
Mm-hmm.
They said that he read a couple stories that maybe they're going to be targeting Chris Long from the Rams to be the next defensive end. He's a little bit older, but he's still very impactful on the defensive side of the ball. So it was someone they could really give up. I know we've talked about him in the past. I'm pretty sure he had been injured this season a little bit. He was really good.
Yeah.
But they
former 1st overall pick, right? Or is that Jake Long? I always get them confused.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't know.
But Chandler Jones, he's a good player. Goes to the Cardinals. That makes him even scarier. But they got a very good deal. They got Jonathan Cooper, who's an offensive tackle. Yeah. And they got a 2nd-round pick. So.
Yeah. Yep.
I'd take the
Do you see a
Patriots side.
loser in this trade or no?
No.
No? Okay. All
I
right.
think
I don't either.
They need a line.
Yeah.
And if I remember right, Cooper's pretty good.
Yeah, he's not bad. Yeah.
But then you think, oh, well, then they gave him a second-round pick where you're seeing wide receivers and some other players getting traded for getting traded for six-round picks they're actually good. So
I don't understand trading in the NFL, but I mean, a second-round pick is just a lottery ticket pretty much.
Right, exactly.
Star, whatever.
They are
bench guy.
Second round. They are going for surplus. The Patriots always. Who knows what they even turn those guys into?
Yep.
Probably other players, but yeah, pretty good. I don't see a losing side in this like you asked me. I think it's good for both teams, and Cardinals definitely make out pretty well though.
Yep. So I talked about the Giants free agency. Why don't you tell me a bit about what the Vikings have done this
they
free agency period?
Recently re-signed Rhett Ellison, who's a tight end. They re-signed Sindehu, who plays safety alongside Harrison Smith, who is a free safety. We've signed re-signed Mike Harris, who is a right tackle. Well, a little bit of both. He plays Vikings line. You play everywhere because we don't have enough. We don't have anything good.
Okay.
Loadholt, I don't think he's going to come back. And I wanted to add, like when I was talking earlier about free agency, I think the Vikings are trying to target, like other teams are doing the same thing. We don't have that good of a line, and now more than ever, the line is the biggest part of the football team. You think, oh, star quarterback, yep, star. Who's going to protect the quarterback?
Yeah, No, that's true.
Who's going to open the holes for the great running back?
Yeah.
You saw this with the Dallas Cowboys 2 seasons ago with DeMarco Murray and how good he was when they had that good of a line, and how much
Best
time
line in the league,
Romo had
Yeah.
to throw to their great wide receivers.
Yep.
So I think the Vikings are targeting a lot of free agent offensive tackles. I don't think they're going to pick one in the first round of the draft. They might go in the second or third because there's a lot of them. And I think we're going to go wide receiver. So that's just something I wanted to add to that because the Vikings are trying to get it early, get it often, and then go for the wide receiver in the draft.
All right. So just some miscellaneous big signings that weren't from the Giants
Right.
or the Vikings. Former Viking, Mike Wallace, agreed just before we came on air, agreed to a 2-year, $11.5 million deal with the Baltimore Ravens. And the Ravens also got safety, highly sought after, Eric Weddle on a 4-year, $26 million deal.
Formerly of the San Diego Chargers.
Yep.
Mike Wallace, Vikings gave him kind of ultimatum, which we've given a couple players this year. He didn't have that good of a year. Teddy didn't really throw to him too much.
No.
Teddy Bridgewater.
Yeah, he was on my fantasy
team.
team. I drafted him one spot before Brandon Marshall. So.
Brandon Marshall had a great year.
Shut up. I still won the lead.
Mike Wallace, he gave him ultimatum, take less money or leave, and he left. We didn't need him. Teddy's getting more confident. I think he would have had a good year.
You have
the
a
Vikings.
star in Stephon Diggs. Absolute
yes.
star.
On to the other position, not wide receiver, but
tight end. The Colts let go of Coby Fleener. If you remember, he was a Stanford teammate of Andrew Luck.
They drafted the same year. They're
Yep.
great friends. And there was some turmoil on the team there. I read that a defender on the team, they were like going back and forth a little bit on something, and maybe Fleener just had enough of that team.
Yeah.
Ex-Colt Jarrell Freeman blasts Coby Fleener, and that's via NFL.com. That's kind of weird. Yeah, so there's like a big thing. Jarrell Freeman was a linebacker, and maybe Fleener just had enough. The coaching uncertainty, Luck struggling, not getting the ball enough, new offense. Arians is gone.
Yeah.
So I think he's looking at Drew Brees. They don't have a good solidified number one tight end. Jimmy Graham's been gone. Maybe he can fill that role, and I think he's going to be like a Jason Witten type for Drew Brees towards the end of his career.
Yep. Fleener signs a 5-year, $36 million deal with the Saints. If you remember last year, they had partial breakout of Benjamin Watson, 35 years old, quite experienced, but he left to go to Baltimore. We talked about the Ravens. 2-year, $7 million deal, Benjamin Watson to the Ravens. So Fleener comes in to fill that tight end hole on the Saints.
Arguably the best player on the championship team, I thought the most impactful player, C.J. Anderson. He's getting a couple offers, and the Broncos matched Dolphins' offer for him in free agency.
Yep.
Do you know anything about that?
So they sent an offer sheet, the Dolphins did, to Anderson, and the Broncos had, I believe it was 5 days to match. Might have been a little longer than that, or else they were going to lose him to the Dolphins. But they do match, and they will hold on to him. He had a very poor, very, very poor start to the season, very underwhelming. Ronnie Hillman eventually took over most of the work.
Right.
He picked it up late.
And he
did
carried
really
them
well
to the playoffs with Brock Osweiler
Yeah,
as the quarterback.
I still agree. I still think in my mind that Von Miller was more impactful to them, but I could see where you're coming.
In the
I can definitely
championship
see.
game, yes, Von Miller.
I didn't say
in
championship games.
in the NFC or AFC
and Super Bowl.
And Super Bowl.
Yep.
Yes, Von Miller. But the games that Brock started, he ran a 42-yard touchdown to beat the Patriots in a snow game. Brock Osweiler got all the praise for that, and he's the one that won the game for him. So I think C.J. Anderson's a big part of this team for that, and they're happy to get them back. Now, if he went to the Dolphins,
Now I wonder
that team would have been pretty dangerous because,
I wonder who the Dolphins go after now. That's my thing.
well,
Because they're going to lose Lamar Miller.
Forte, did he end up going to the Jets?
He did end up. Oh, that was we didn't talk
So
about that.
Forte went to the Jets.
Yeah. Yep. Big move for them.
Big move. There are a couple other moves.
As
The
Chris Ivory went to the Jaguars.
Yeah, Dolphins have made a couple moves.
Nothing too major though.
Did they trade for someone?
They got rid of Brent.
They
Grimes.
got rid of Brent Grimes. They got hold on.
I'll give you time.
He's a corner. You might remember.
No.
He played. Did he play for Seattle, like the original
Jeremy Lane?
No, other one. Original Legion of Boom.
I don't know.
Original.
Oh, Byron Maxwell. They did the Tito Alonso trade. Yep.
Yeah.
Forgot about that.
Yeah. No, they didn't.
It was Tito Alonso and Byron Maxwell to Miami for something.
Oh yeah.
Was
with
it Brent
the
Grimes?
Eagles.
Was it Brent Grimes? That was.
Nah, they didn't trade. They didn't trade.
Taking
Brent Grimes.
quite some time to look that up over there.
It was older news. That's why we didn't think about it. But
Okay.
it's definitely a big trade.
Yeah, it impacts a lot of things. Definitely.
Yeah, their defense is looking really good. If Sue just gets his head out of his helmet and decides to play some football.
It is Tito Alonso and Byron Maxwell and the 13th overall pick to Miami for the 8th overall pick. So there you go. That's from NFL.com. So that's what I got for you.
That's one to remember there.
Yeah, the Dolphins also released Brent Grimes, it says later in the
Who
article.
was pretty good.
Yeah,
Now-
cornerback.
Who's their number one guy?
In terms of...
Corner. They're really young.
I'll look. You talk.
All right, so I'll talk before I know his name or remember his name.
Just
he's
go.
really good. He's one of the best corners in the league, and he's been talked about a lot. I think
Brent Grimes? No,
it's not Brent Grimes.
I'm kidding.
Brent Grimes is older. This guy's like
All right, I'm looking it up. Keep going.
this guy's like early 20s, and he's making a very big impact. I'd say he's around Chris Harris Jr.
According to the Dolphins depth chart, it is Brent Grimes, Bryce McCain, Bobby McCain, Tony Lippett, and Jamar Taylor.
Maybe it was Brent.
There's also safety Rashad Jones. That name rings a bell. But yeah, no, I think the Brent Grimes release, he didn't have a terrible year last year. Probably more of a salary cap move, them releasing him. But yeah, I mean, we kind of rolled off on a tangent there. But the Dolphins are going to have to find a new running back now that the Broncos matched Anderson's offer.
Who do you think they will go after?
I don't know, honestly.
I don't know if there's any. They might have to
Doug
go.
Martin's available. Lamar Miller's still available.
They might Lamar. That's re-signing, right?
At this point, it would just be signing again. I don't know. Yeah. Because they didn't sign him. They let him walk, and now they right.
Some people in the draft are really good, so you have to look at that.
Yep. So to the Patriots, I believe he's a safety, Nate Ebner. Cool story. He leaves the team. He goes to train for the U.S. Rugby national team. So we saw last year Jared Hine come in and play for the San Francisco 49ers coming out of the Australian Rugby League.
Which he still says he wants to play, and he wasn't very good.
Yeah. He did have
off the first
his first
he got.
Yeah, it wasn't great. But Ebner's going to leave for the U.S. team. He's going to go train maybe we'll see him in the Olympics coming up.
Yeah, that's definitely a cool story, and I really like that one.
Yep. So I'm going to move on to Hockey Minute.
Hockey Minute, and I'll look up some NFL stuff.
There's really not much hockey. So one guy that didn't get dealt at the deadline was Tampa Bay Lightning Jonathan Drouin, who demanded a trade and said he would not play in any capacity until he was traded. Well, he wasn't traded, and now he wants to play again. So they sent him to AHL Syracuse, and he returned to action, trying to get that stock back up after he lowered it so much with his behavior. So we'll have to see how the Lightning are going to handle that situation, in addition to Stamkos' contract up. Pittsburgh Penguins defenseman Olli Mata is Finnish, and at the end of the season, he said he is going to serve in the Finnish army, serve his country.
That's kind of interesting.
Yeah, so that'll be his form of off-season training
whenever
whenever their season ends. Jonathan Quick, LA Kings, sets the record for American-born goalies in terms of shutouts. So Quick, kind of inconsistent, but still getting the shutouts. Not an elite goalie, but he set a record. Good for him. Now, quick thing for me, I'm an RPI fan. They have top 10 NCAA goaltender Jason Kasdorf. He signed his entry-level contract with the Buffalo Sabres after their season ended with a 6-2 and 8-2 loss against Harvard.
That's a nice hometown type feel around here. It's nice to see people. We get to see these people, and correct me if I'm wrong, RPI doesn't offer any scholarships.
I don't know. I'm not sure.
It's either Union or RPI. I think it's RPI does not offer scholarships, and they get a lot of people from Canada coming down.
They have a guy from Slovakia, Denmark, Sweden, Finland, and Slovakia, or like Serbia or something. I don't know. They have a lot of foreign guys on their team, though, and a lot of guys from Canada, too. But, yeah. And then really quick, one more hockey thing. Both women's national leads ended for the NWHL. Boston Pride won their title, supporting Dena Lane, who suffered paralysis in their outdoor game. They brought the cup to the hospital. Yeah. And then in the CWHL, the Calgary Inferno upset the Montreal Canadiens, or Les Canadiens, or however you say the women's team's name. Mm-hmm. Calgary Inferno, and I'm pretty sure it was 8-3. Wasn't exactly a close game. Mm-hmm. But, so yeah, good years for the women's league. It was actually pretty popular. I wish I could have gone to a Riveters game. They weren't that good. Right. Regular season was short. There's only 4 teams in the NWHL. Yeah. So hopefully, I would love to see the two leagues merge into one big women's hockey league. That'd be great. We'll have to wait and see on that. And that's all for Hockey Minute.
We'll shift over to the hard court. Phil Jackson making news again. The Guru says he could coach some home games next season.
Yeah. So apparently they want Kurt Ramos to stay. Whatever. But,
oh boy.
At this point, it's a publicity stunt.
Yeah.
So
they're trying to attract players,
players and fans.
Yeah, fans.
Have you seen the price of a Knicks ticket? Hasn't gone down much.
Yeah, they definitely need the Carmelo shouting out the owner the other night.
Yep.
There's definitely some turmoil happening there. But Phil Jackson, you just have to still trust him. I mean, he did pick a guy, Porzingis, that you're like, what is he doing? Knicks fans are booing him. Mm-hmm. They're booing Porzingis. They're like, what is he doing? He just wasted our pick. Yeah. And then all of a sudden, Porzingis has a very good start to the year. Yeah. You know, he's still
good. No,
he's still good, but he's leveling out a little bit. He's not like Carl Anthony Townsend yet right now.
You can't expect him,
but he's having a very good year.
Definitely.
And you still have to trust Phil
All
Jackson.
All-rookie first team, definitely.
And the trades he made to get rid of people, I think, was very good. And you have to trust him. And
Such as who? Like the J.R. Smith deal?
No. Well, yeah, that was not bad. They traded. Who else did they trade? They trade away Tyson Chandler.
That might have been. I think that was a buyout, so it was Amari.
All right, so those are. I think those were good things for the team.
The Amari buyout was fine. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So they're still good players. Don't get me wrong, but I think it was needed, and it lets younger guys play, and it evolves your team even more.
Yep. After a scary reoccurrence of blood clots, Chris Bosh returned to action. He didn't play. He just sat on the bench, but he was actually on the court for the first time. Good for him.
Yeah, you have to say it's a tough story. Feel-good story now. Yeah. he says he's not gonna have this problem ever again, and we hope he doesn't.
Man, I hope so.
Yeah, because it's definitely a scary situation.
Yep. So just a little while after Nate Robinson said that he wants to try out for an NFL team, the 5'0" Nate Robinson signs with an Israeli basketball team. So he was a free agent, surprisingly. He's getting up there in age, not exactly the healthiest, I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure he's had some injury issues. But he's going to go overseas and play some ball.
You've seen this. Everyone's seen this. You go overseas, you win the MVP, you play really great for one of these teams, you make some money along the way, some endorsements, and then you ship it right back to the United States because you have to prove yourself over there before you can play in the NBA again. Yep. And you might see this. Maybe he'll have a really good year next season, and maybe he'll come halfway through, sign with a team, do something. I thought he played good for the Bulls when he was playing for them, and when Rose was hurt, and he could help a team. I think he's a very good scorer. He's a proven scorer, and he's good enough to play in the NBA. I just don't know why he isn't right now.
I want to take a quick timeout and round of applause for Logan Ripley, last show, calling Michael Beasley to the Houston Rockets.
Yeah, I'd like to. I'm waving my hand.
You can bask in that glory.
I'm waving my hand like the Queen right now.
You can bask in that glory for a little bit. So over to the Diamond, the Mets placed shortstop Ruben Tejada on waivers. If you remember, Tejada was the guy that was taken out by Utley last year in the postseason. Broken leg, he's recovered, but hasn't really done that well in spring training.
This guy, Tejada, was good. He was supposed to be...
Tejada was great after the Flores crying, after he cooled off going into the postseason. He was fantastic. I mean, the Yankees were out at that point, so I watched the Mets.
Yeah.
He was great. But now that they bring in Asdrubal Cabrera to play shortstop, Tejada was just a minors/bench guy, so they get rid of him and then put him on waivers.
They have someone else down in the prospect range for the Mets, don't they? That's really good. I thought they did have some guy that they're kind of waiting for him to come up. Tejada, I thought, was really good. And the whole, as you mentioned before, the whole what's the guy's name again that was crying?
Wilmer Flores.
Yeah, Wilmer Flores. That whole situation was very, very hard to watch because he knew I've been traded, I'm gone,
Yeah.
And then they're like, nope, it's not going to happen. And he played great. I thought he played really well after that, and he kept.
He did. He really, and he hit that walk-off homer, and I almost started crying.
Yeah, I know. So, he's someone to watch. And Ruben Tejada, I thought he was a great shortstop, but maybe I'm just mixing up with old Tejada, who used to be on the Orioles.
Yeah,
really good.
I almost did too.
Because he was nasty. We all know about that.
Yeah.
And that's one team I miss right there.
By the way, to answer your question, in MLB Pipeline's top Mets prospects ratings, ranks the best 30 in the system. Number 1, Steven Matz. We know him. Dominic Smith, first baseman. And then 3rd and 4th, we have Ahmed Rosario and Davin Cecchini, both shortstops.
All right,
and then number 7, Luis Caprio.
As I thought, maybe they're paving the way.
I believe Cecchini's the closest. I believe
Tejada's out, and then you bring in Cabrera, who's a proven player, and he plays for a couple of years, and then you get one of those guys up, and you just got a whole big situation where everyone goes crazy in Metland.
Also 10 and 11 on the prospects are also shortstop, so they have plenty.
So I was right again.
Yeah. You can bask in that one, too.
Didn't even look it up. Josh had to.
Scary moment last night in the Giants game. Newly acquired Johnny Cueto was pitching. He took a line drive to the head, and Bruce Bochy actually left him in the game for a little while. Eventually, he was taken to the hospital, but did not show any signs of a concussion, so the Giants dodged a big bullet there.
They should
wear a bullet line drive.
I think for spring training, you see players get hurt all the time, any sport, NFL, MLB, NBA. Well, not so much NBA, but they should have to wear hats, those hard hats.
Like I think you saw Torres wear for the Mets last year?
I think they should work on it in spring training and really plead with these guys just to wear it in spring training. See how it feels. Those for the guys that are not make or break on the team. Maybe it will affect them a little bit. Maybe it won't. Who knows? But I'd say that they should be wearing them in spring training just as a trial and error type thing and to protect their players. These people are getting hit in the head all the time.
Right.
Chapman got hit in the head last year, and it's just sad to see. I'd rather see someone hurt in the regular season or playoffs rather than in spring training where Cueto's already signed a huge deal and he doesn't even have to like play any spring training baseball.
Yep.
Just go pitch BP and then be fine.
Yep. So back to the Mets, we saw Henry Mejia get the lifetime ban, third
The
suspension.
first one ever through
PEDs, for his third suspension of it. He's still fighting. He's going to appeal the suspension. I doubt that they're going to overturn it.
Yeah, he's still.
But
you don't know.
It's newsworthy.
Yeah, maybe if they change the head of the MLB again, who knows? I don't know. I don't think he'll ever be playing baseball again.
Not in MLB.
Right.
Nope.
I don't know how that works for national teams.
Some leagues honor it, some leagues don't.
Does China? I don't know any about that.
I think Korea honors the suspension.
All right, yeah.
And that's the big one.
That's the big one?
Yeah,
All
I'm
right.
pretty sure that they honor it.
So maybe he'll be making a little money back in his hometown of, I think he's not from Cuba. I think he's from the Dominican.
It's one of them.
He's from the Dominican.
So,
Maybe he'll be throwing at people in the,
jeez.
in like the big, what do they even call those games? They even play those anymore?
I don't even know.
Those were cool. Those were not bad. USA versus all those Dominican.
The World Baseball Classic.
Yeah, World Baseball Classic. Yeah. Get smacked by them. Canada gets smacked. So we'll move on. Adam LaRoche, tell us a little about
that. He is going to retire from baseball. He forfeits, I believe it is $13 million. He was signed with the White Sox.
Chunk change for him.
LaRoche, a first baseman, had a lot of injury issues last season, if I remember correctly. Not exactly a star. Used to be really good first baseman. I remember him on Washington. I think it was really good.
Yeah, you're right. Yep.
But yeah, I mean, he's not that old. But again, maybe we're seeing something like the NFL.
We're not talking about any Richie Sexton good hitter stats, but we're talking about Adam LaRoche.
Throwback, Richie Sexton. Oh, he's 36. Okay, I thought he was younger than that.
He's older, but I mean there's a lot of 36-year-olds playing baseball.
Oh, even higher.
Brian McCann's 36, I believe.
He's up there. Yeah.
And he's playing catcher.
Yeah, that's got to be awful.
That guy can't squat. He's not going to be able to squat when he's 43. So he can't kneel down anything after that.
Yep.
You could see, wear and tear on the body, especially in MLB. People don't give it enough credit. You're playing in minor leagues until you're like 27, and then you have 9 years like LaRoche to do something or something like that, to make your impact and make your money. You're traveling all the time. It must kill you. I don't even know. I couldn't even begin to fathom like how well their mental stability is for the guys that play that long and how much they love the game to do that, because I don't think I ever could.
Yep. Quick numbers on LaRoche. Last year was an off season for him with the Chicago White Sox. His triple slash 207 batting average, 293 on base, 340 slugging. Keep in mind, weighted runs created plus averages 100. He was a 75. But over his career, triple slash 260 batting average, 336 on base, 462 slugging with a 110 WRC plus. So an above average first baseman over his career.
Right.
Spent some time with the Braves,
Play
the
for
Pirates,
the Cardinals.
Braves, Pirates, Diamondbacks, Red Sox, Nationals, White Sox.
All right, so I never played for the Cardinals.
Nope. But yeah, I'll
he'll be missed. He was a good player.
Yeah,
I remember him.
I'll let you take over on golf. I did actually watch this tournament too.
All right. Well, I was actually there.
Were you? Really?
I was there on Saturday.
Awesome.
I saw myself on TV a couple times.
That's awesome.
So I'll tell you. I'll start with Saturday since I know that one the best. I did watch Sunday when it came on NBC. This is the recurring coverage of NBC's trip around Florida, and then they'll go into Texas, and then they'll be done. And I think it transitions over to CBS and ESPN, if I'm right, for the Masters. I don't think ESPN has all the rights to that, but I know they do show some of it. So Bill Haas had the lead on Saturday at the end of the day. Pretty sure he had a one-shot lead over Graham DeLatte. He was 8 under, and DeLatte was 7 under. DeLatte fell off the face of the golf course on Sunday. He did not have a very good day. He finished around 3 under, I believe. So that's 4 shots. He was over par 4 shots.
Mm-hmm.
Schwartzel came out of nowhere on Sunday, and Bill Haas tried to fight him off. Schwartzel shot a low round of the day on Sunday out of all the competitors. He shot a 67, he was 5 shots behind, came back 5 shots, tied Haas after parring and almost birdieing 18 with a 40-foot putt.
Mm-hmm.
Just missed. He had made a long putt, about 64 feet, 2 or 3 holes previously for birdie, which really helped him on a par 3. I believe it was 15. So it was a great ending. Bill Haas is so fun to follow. I followed him all Saturday. He's a big guy, big, lengthy, skinny, and he just has one of those minds for the game. He creates shots. There was one shot, the ball was sitting in the sand off the fairway. It was in the rough, but where the trees come down, it gets a lot of sand for some reason, and it was sitting in this clump of sand. And he's about 110 yards out, but he's got this branch out in front of him about 15 feet. And, when you're hitting a wedge from 110 yards, especially these guys, it's going pretty high.
Right.
But they can flight the ball any degree they want, high, low, anything. And he goes, well, I'm going to have to put pressure on my back foot, open. And he's telling this all this caddies, something really that, they try to get up there with the mics, but they didn't get there in time for this one because I watched the coverage again on Saturday. I guess I'll put weight on my back foot, open up, and I'm going to hit this wedge. And, he tells his caddy all this, asks the yardage, front, back, middle, and then he just seemingly does it with ease, knocks it 3 feet next to the hole. Great shot, makes a putt. I thought he was going to win. He did not win. They went into a playoff hole.
Yep.
Where he bogeyed it and Schwartzel parred it. So
yeah, Schwartzel's second career PGA Tour win. I remember when he won the Masters.
2011.
Yep.
So he was very.
I'm surprised
happy.
it was only a second, honestly.
Yeah, I mean he's a good player.
Yeah, he's not bad.
Bill Haas, he's been a little.
He won the FedEx Cup, didn't he?
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
He's a little on and off, but his father tried to help him this tournament, and it did help, and I think he'll be in contention for a couple more tournaments and maybe a major this year.
Yeah, and then there was that amateur that finished top 5, right?
Yeah, he was something to watch.
He went to University of Georgia.
Yep. His name again, I don't remember.
His last name was McCoy.
McCoy.
Something McCoy.
Yeah.
Not Colt.
No, but he was good. He shot on Saturday. He was tied for the lowest round with a 66. A lot of people struggled Thursday, Friday. But
that's not low scores for a PGA Tour event. Those scores aren't -7.
No, this was a really
that's
hard
a tough
with the
course,
wind,
it sounds.
and I walked every hole, and it was very tough. It looked tough. It was long. It was about 7,400 yards, which is very long. Not so much for them. They reached a couple par 5s and 2, but it's pretty long. And for the way that Graham Dillette swung the club, it was really good, and Ryan Moore was really good. He just made no putts.
And those were the two guys with the amateur. He couldn't collect his winnings because he's still in college.
Yeah,
so they split his winnings between the next two below him,
right,
which was Dillette, and I think it was Moore.
I think he came in tied for 4th.
4th, yeah.
Yep. So he was like, "Yeah, I have about $415 in my bank account."
Oh man,
and he's,
dude.
But another cool thing to note, the last amateur to win was Phil Mickelson.
Was it
about 20 years ago?
To win any event?
To win any PGA Tour event.
Wow.
And it's definitely interesting to see how times are changing. People are cashing out instantly, like Spieth, the new prodigy young kids coming out of college. Yeah, I'm excited about the kid McCoy. And
still can't remember his first name.
He left. He left. It's not Graham McCoy, is it?
No, it's Graham Dillette.
All right.
No, I don't think it was Ryan Moore he split the money with. It might have been Charlie Howell III that the money was split with.
Lee McCoy.
Lee McCoy, thank you.
So, and I just want to add this one thing. He left that night. His buddy flew in to watch him, and he had to drive to his next tournament.
Yeah, they had an event on
36 holes the next day.
day.
And I've played 36 holes in one day, and it kills you. So, it definitely kills you.
Yeah.
And after playing 4 straight days, maybe 5 straight days, and then going to 36-hole event, I applaud him. And
yes.
I'm definitely going. You guys should all look up how he did in that. I haven't looked it up yet, and I'm going to. So,
yep.
That's all for the golf minute. Not the hockey minute, but that's all for golf.
Anything else to add at all?
No, I don't think I have anything. I think we covered a lot of it today. We're around 50 minutes right now.
Yep. All right. Thanks for tuning in today. Make sure to follow our show on Twitter at RSR Sports Now. My personal account is at Josh Heller 20.
Mine's all lowercase, LOGAN_RIPLEY.
You can find our archive shows on YouTube now. Search Sports Now on YouTube, direct links on Twitter and Facebook. You can find us on Facebook, searching Sports Now on Facebook. Thank you for listening to Sports Now on Radio St. Rose. Be sure to enjoy the first 4 games for the NCAA tournament.
Yep.
Next show, we'll go over our predictions. Be sure to tune in next time for all the latest news around the sports world.